at Park City Toastmasters, except that one area one. He's not listening. Upcoming speaking gigs include stops in Jackson, Mississippi, and Orlando, Florida, but he's nervous about today's speech because he hasn't set foot in a junior high school in more than 40 years. Man, Joel's old. Today's speech is 6 to 8 minutes long and is designed to show how to organize a speech so the listeners can understand and so they can understand what they are hearing. It's 6 to 8 minutes in length. It is titled Yoga. Let's welcome Joel.
Good morning, Toastmasters, guests, and junior high students. This is for the junior high students only. $2 to the first person who can give me an intelligent answer to this question. What is the difference between a speech and a television show and a book? Television show and a book are together, and a speech is separate. You had your hand up first, miss.
Well, a speech is in front of a live audience, whereas a television show or a book usually is in front of a listening audience.
Wrong.
Okay.
Oh.
You.
A speech seems to be like it's more live than a TV show. You're not really.
Did you listen to what she said?
Boy.
Wrong.
I don't even know.
It's a very esoteric response I'm looking for. Esoteric, for those of you who don't know, means unusual. Last try. Give me a try. Nothing?
A speech is more personal than TV or a book.
All right. You win the $2.
Yes.
Of course, none of you are quite where I want you to be. It's a very esoteric answer. Here's what I'm going for. When you watch, hey, pay attention. Boy, it'd be tough to be a teacher. When you watch TV, if you get distracted, your mother calls you, the phone rings, you can press rewind. Go back 8 seconds. This technology was not around when we were in junior high, so consider yourselves lucky. When you read a book, raise your hand if you've ever been reading a book and you're following along on the page, and at the end of the page you have no idea what you read because you were spacing out. What can you do? You reread the page. Not so in a speech. A speech, you have one chance to impress your message upon the audience. The speaker only has one opportunity to get that message across. So the way to get a message across so your audience understands what you're trying to say is to be organized. The name of this speech is yoga. It's an acronym. It means your organization gives accuracy. If your speech is organized, then your audience can accurately remember what it is you said. Now listen up, kids. It's 3 simple steps to organize your speech. I'm going to say it, and I want you to repeat it. Step number 1, tell them what you're going to say. Step number 2, tell them. And step number 3, tell them what you said. Let's try that. What's step number 1? Tell them what you're going to say. Step number 2 is?
Tell them.
And step number 3 is?
Tell them what you said.
That's how you organize a speech. So today's speech is titled Yoga. Your organization gives accuracy. And we're going to talk about yoga. There are 4 things I'm going to teach you. Yoga is beneficial for balance, flexibility, bending your back, which is different than flexibility, and calming the mind. Those are the 4 things we're going to discuss in the next 5 minutes. Before I do that, a very brief history of yoga. Yoga is an ancient Hindu word. It means union, union of body and breath. And yoga was invented centuries ago so mystics and religious men could sit on the floor cross-legged with their spine straight and meditate for hours on end. Now, all of you are young, limber-backed skiers, boarders, bikers, soccer players. If you got out of your chairs and sat on the floor right now, cross-legged with your spine straight, in less than 1 minute, many of you would be leaning on one hand or the other. And within 5 minutes, everyone in this class, including the best athlete, would be slumped over on one side or another. That's the way our Western bodies work. That's why yoga was invented. All right, to the 4 benefits of yoga. We'll start with balance. You, once is not enough. When was the last time you were on a pogo stick?
I don't know, years ago.
Years ago. Your partner there, when was the last time you were on a tightrope?
A couple weeks ago. Well,
Now,
like a
aren't you
tightrope line,
special?
or like
All right. John Henry, when was the last time you were on a tightrope?
Never.
So we all need work on our balance. When you do yoga, you balance first on one foot, then on another, then on your head, then on your hands. Who would like to see a one-armed handstand on this desk? Raise your hand. All right, who can do it? I certainly can't. It's too early in the day and too late in my life for such nonsense, but I will show you a balance trick. All right? Now, you might think I learned this in yoga class, but I didn't. I'm just special. Point 2, flexibility. There are 3 tenets to physical fitness: strength, aerobic endurance, and flexibility. And if any of you have ever been in a gym, you'll see that 95% of the people in the gym are either lifting weights or on a treadmill or a stationary bike. Very few people are working on their flexibility. But strength and aerobic endurance without flexibility is like the walls of a house without the roof. The flexibility ties in with the strength and aerobic capacity. Yoga, of course, at its essence is flexibility. Thirdly, bending the back. Raise your hand if you have a smartphone. How many of you look at your smartphone like this? No, you're all look at your smartphone like this. You're forward in your chairs, you're forward in the cafeteria, you're forward in the car, you're forward on the couch. You're always forward. But your back, as my friend Tess knows, is meant to be bent backwards as well as forwards. That's how you get spinal health. So when you do yoga, you learn poses like bridge and wheel and camel, and it gets your spine into extension, which is very good for your overall health. Fourth and finally, calming the mind. If you do yoga and you listen to the teacher and lose yourself in the breath and the movements, at the end of an hour, you will feel a calmness that you do not get from running gates or doing soccer drills or playing pickup basketball. It's just the way it is. So to review, boys and girls, yoga is excellent for balance, flexibility, bending the back, and calming the mind. And if you can't remember that, just remember this. Doing yoga is like banging your head against the wall. It feels really good when you stop. Toastmaster.